I've been doing this for 3 years now. I've seen a lot. I've got to see the change, even though from the very beginning we talked about, hey, we're way behind the rest of the planet. We talk about floppy disks. Well, the old magnetic stripe technology is basically like running an 8-track in your wallet. It's the same technology. And the reason for that, because I love historical factoids, is that we as Americans fell in love with the idea of credit cards very early on. The rest of the planet was very leery to the idea because, like Terry said, he remembers the good old days when you would just hand somebody cash and you would receive change for goods and services. Well, we probably fueled on cocaine and stock exchange money in the 80s really got into credit cards. And that's really why it took us so long to change. It's because everybody had the infrastructure in place. Everyone had a magnetic stripe credit card and the reader in their place of business that it worked fine. If it ain't broke, why change it? In fact, if you go to my Stater Brothers, where was I yesterday? Lots and lots of big, reputable businesses are still having you swipe your card. So it hasn't been the end of the world. However, when those machines break, die, don't accept all of your charges, which are very important, you're going to not be able to get them refurbished or refixed now. You're going to have to go ahead and just replace them. So he was talking about, cash. And one of the reasons I think that it really is going to help everybody is that, when people need to make a big purchase, they don't want to go and get a bank loan. There are some places, some used cars you can get for $5,000, which they accept credit cards for. Now, you can get a bank loan for that, or you could do it the easy way. Now, I know the interest rates are higher, but the convenience factor is there. And the emergency thing I bring up is because on average, the people who don't carry any credit card debt whatsoever in an average month will put about $1,100, slightly higher, it's about $1,125, on their credit card, and they'll pay it off monthly. Carry no balance, no problem. The people who carry a balance on their credit card, $7,500 typically. And, I know the horror stories about some people maybe making frivolous purchases, not realizing that, hey, this is actual money and you're going to have to pay for this eventually. I think that really boils down to those big purchases that sometimes you need. Your air conditioner goes out. Currently in the place I live right now, Jim, all of the water valves are rusting and need to be all replaced all at once. That's going to be a big check. I think it's nice for the business owner to be able to take credit cards because, yes, you take a hit on the percentage. You may have to pay 2% of that, but you have it in your bank account tomorrow. You don't have to worry about a client bouncing a check because this is a brand new plumber we've never seen before. So, other statistics. Now, historically, why don't a lot of merchants take American Express? This one was always really curious to me. I got a free American Express card. I really liked it. Their customer service is amazing. Did you ever notice how you see that little sign when you go to pay? Visa, MasterCard only. Yeah. Well, historically speaking, they were about 0.5% to 1.5% more expensive than taking a Visa or MasterCard. Now, that's historically speaking. American Express set itself up to go for higher end clientele. When they came into the industry, what they did is they would charge an annual fee. And because they were charging the annual fee, they really didn't care that more businesses weren't taking them. I believe they have more free cards out now. And I believe that when Costco severed their ties with American Express, that really woke them up. That woke the new president or the CEO of American Express up. So he's actually changing the way he does business, and a lot more people are allowed to compete for those American Express rates, which is essentially what we as merchant service providers do. We're actually competing over rates and finding a livable medium between getting you your money tomorrow and us accepting a good portion of that risk for you. So American Express wasn't playing ball. They would say, this is what we charge as a merchant processor, you get a dime. Well, we didn't love doing that either, so they really had to come in, but now they're gonna do their fees a lot more like Visa, MasterCard, and actually Discover's owned by Visa and MasterCard. So I always found it funny when people are like, no, Discover, I'll take the Visa. They're all one company. And so the rewards cards are the rewards cards are the rewards cards. I mentioned rewards cards because I also said, historically speaking, American Express was 0.5 to 1.5% more expensive. And that's not really true anymore. My Bank of America Visa card pays me more cash back than any card I've ever heard of ever. You've got, he's in every movie ever. Snakes on a Plane. He's on...
Jackson.
Yep, exactly. Samuel L. Jackson advertising the 2% cash back. Exactly. And he's on every sporting event you've ever seen 5 times advertising this card.
Man's gotta eat.
Man's gotta eat, that's right. He's not living off that Star Wars money? He had a purple lightsaber. So if you're, I'm willing to bet that card is very expensive as an American Express to take. But like I said, American Express set itself up as going for that higher clientele before the rewards craze really came about. We got 55% of what are classified as small businesses. Sorry, I don't know what the classification, what the criteria are, but 55% of small businesses do not accept credit cards. But 66% of those businesses get asked very regularly, hey, do you accept credit cards? It's anecdotal, but I love it. My best friend in the world was a bartender for 8 years. Every night he'd go home and just take cash and throw it in this one drawer. It was funny, like, hey man, the pizza guy's here. Can I get $10? He's like, yeah, top drawer of my bedroom. And you open it up and it looked like a pirate chest full of yeah, I mean, he had $2 bills in there, and he'd go to the bank once a month. Every single time we went out to lunch, he'd be like, all I got is a card. Every single time we go to a bar, he's like, hey, just put 20 in my card. He would never bring the cash with him. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe he was concerned about security. Maybe he's just a frustrated individual. But it might be generational. It might be a cohort effect. There was a really funny commercial where the mugger comes up to rob 2 guys about my age, and they just looked at him like, I haven't carried cash in 5 years. What do you mean? I'm going to cancel anything you take from me. My cell phone is locked. I have nothing you want. And so I think with the electronic, they're making it easier and easier. Apple Pay, Samsung Pay just came out. American Express, Bank of America, they all like to have the new readers. You can just pull your phone out, put your thumbprint on it, and that can pay that way. Now I like having cash for emergencies, but really it's just the way things are. And why would you want to accept credit cards when you know there's some things happening? Well, a lot of consumers, you ever see a sign that says there will be an additional $2 on all credit card transactions? I'm never going to tell you to do that. Visa and MasterCard do not want you doing that, and they will revoke your account. But what Visa and MasterCard doesn't know won't hurt them. And
It's also illegal.
It absolutely is, and that's, yeah. And you know why it's illegal? Because Visa and MasterCard have very powerful lobbying groups. Consumers 9 out of 10 times accept the surcharge and use their credit card. They're okay with it. It really is a convenience factor. One of the big differences between debit and credit is how much easier it is to get your any fraudulent charges investigated with a credit card. They'll immediately take it off your bill while they're investigating. A debit card is an electronic transfer of money from your checking or savings account directly to that merchant. Well, now they have to jump through a lot of hoops, and you typically won't see that money back if it's proven to be fraudulent for 2 to 3 months. So I think that's another issue that consumers absolutely love credit cards, is the safety is there. If I may give you all any advice, don't use a debit card on Amazon or online purchases, only credit. That way, should anything happen, those credit card companies have wonderful fraud investigation now, because they want you to feel secure using your credit card. And they will refund that money immediately while they do their investigation. I'm almost out of numbers here, but... Oh, and then the last thing we found is that people typically, when they use a credit card, spend 22% more. So they may just grab, yep, exactly right. And I've done it, 22% more. And I've done it myself where I've had cash and I'm like, okay, well, I need this, this, and this. pay in cash. And then when I just go to the supermarket with my credit card, I'm like, ooh, that's on sale. Ooh, I've never tried that wine before. And what happens is you do, I am who I am. Takes a lot of work to do all this. I need to decompress, okay? So you actually, I need to decompress. We just talked about it. Antioxidants. It's antioxidants. like this, chock full of them. So the impulse purchase reason is there. Sometimes people aren't as good at doing numbers in their head, which is exactly why retailers price things at $19.95 rather than $20. But whatever the case may be, they're going to spend more money that way. It's always nice to accept credit cards if you do kind of emergency services, plumber, lawyer. Someone's going to need you when they're strapped for cash, and not accepting credit cards, that could really cost you business. So yeah, I'd like to throw it open to questions. Please.
Okay, I want to get this straight. I was with someone the other day, and she made a substantial purchase. It was just a little over $2,000, and the company wanted to charge her, it was like $120-some to use her credit card. Is that illegal?
It's illegal.
Really?
Yeah, and they typically now, again, this was small businesses. You typically see it in those not I see it a lot in those not 7-Eleven convenience stores, little shops like that, where they're going to try to get away with that. But I don't think any business of any size is ever going to get away with it.
How do you turn
Call Visa, call whichever card company she wanted to use, and they will put a stop to it immediately.
California Department of Consumer Affairs.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Please.
I've got a question for you, Abe. When you do a remote processing of a card, and you don't want to use the Square because you tell us continuously that that's not a good thing, what do you do?
Oh, everything is set up to do that. We've got a web portal that you can do a remote. We've got an actual device that hooks up to your phone. It is exactly like Square. You really want to.
You said Square was not good.
Square itself, Square the company is not good. They got into it, and I mean, they are for like babysitters who are doing below a really certain threshold. Once you're doing $3,000 a month in credit card sales, and you actually need to be presenting yourself as a reputable business, you got to get away from Square. Square sells your client's data. Whenever I swipe my card for the tip, I get an email receipt, which creeps me out. But it has, anytime you have Square, they keep your personal data, and they sell that macro data. Because you'd be surprised, Square sets itself up to a lot of fraudulent charges because anyone can can fill out an application and suddenly they have a Square reader. And I mean anyone. So there could be people selling shady items. There could be people who are in less than reputable businesses or have set themselves up several times with Square readers in order to do things like this. So they actually set themselves up in a very precarious place, which is part of the reason why they charge 2.75 or 3.5%, which no one ever talks about. They talk about Square is only 2.75. I'm like, yeah, it's actually 3.5 when it doesn't work, and they charge you a dime every time that tiny little card reader doesn't read because it's a flimsy little piece of plastic. Yeah, so you swipe that thing a bunch of times. But we've got all sorts of setups. What I do like about Square is they changed the game for everyone. Mobile card readers are now a thing. Put it on your iPad. We've got those. If you're running a business from home, we can set you up with a gateway on any computer where you just go log in. And if you want, it can actually set it up so that it remembers your clients in a secure manner. It'll have the credit card with the last 4 digits, nothing more. And if they're a regular business for you, you can say, hey, is the Visa ending in 4466 okay? They'll say, yeah. We call that recurring billing. They'll have that information in there for you too. If you have corporate clients, if you have, the same person comes in once a month, the guy who runs his books twice a year, things like that. So you can actually keep that and add a level of convenience to it. And the rates will be lower when you go without Square. Because Square actually gets pretty pricey. The other thing Square does is Square will... Really? I didn't think I'd be able to fill 7 minutes today. All right.
You didn't, you filled 15.
Yeah. I talk good.
It's on a roll.
It's the beard. It's all the fluff.
It's all.
Yeah, let's get to it.
I was gonna say, one of the other things I've noticed is, you go into the store and they've got the insert reader. They're like, no, just swipe it. And it's like, okay, what's going on here?
Oh, man,
They swipe into, they're like, well, our computer system.
Those companies could not sell those $1,000, $2,000 machines fast enough, could they? Yeah. They're not working. They're not set up. They're not going out. It was just incredible how they came in and preyed upon fear and things like that, which is not something I'll ever do. So the only thing I want to say is if people have said it and forget it, you haven't had a rate review. I'm seriously the last credit card processor you'll ever use. I don't want, you'll have the best rates and you can leave at any time. That's how confident I am in my ability to get your rates down, but you'll also get a working terminal with me where you work that way. Just saying.
They're blaming it on their computer system not syncing with it. And it's like,
Well, David, we only had 7 years to prepare for this. Europe's only been doing it. Europe's only been doing this since 2008.
What's the average rate? Say if you're doing like $24,000 a year in sales, what's the rate you guys are charging?
$24,000 a year in sales. How are you taking credit cards? We'll
On
talk.
credit cards.
It's kind of like it depends on what card, how you're punching them in, things like that. But I'll let you know. We'll talk about it. All right. Thank you, everybody.